Welcome to Season 2 of Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and false hope collide nightly, like a Masataka Yoshida ground out to second. We break down every loss, every meltdown, and the occasional win, with sarcasm, facts, and no front office spin. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or keep wondering how a wildcard team spent an entire offseason avoiding power hitters. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And yeah, that's me back again, firing up another episode of Red Sox Digest like a guy who still thinks his team is going to magically turn into a winning organization overnight. At this point, I'm not even hosting a podcast. I'm just clocking in for emotional damage. Night after night, headset on, StreamYard fired up, pretending like I'm about to break down a contender instead of whatever this crap is. Every show I tell myself, this is the night they look legit. And every night, I'm right back here explaining why they don't. Honestly, I'm not covering a baseball team anymore. I'm documenting a rebuild in real time like it's a Netflix series nobody asked for. Joining me tonight is Slick Bunny. Slick, who somehow manages to act like he personally built the team when they win, and then immediately disowns them like they're strangers at a gas station the second they lose. This guy doesn't watch games, he audits them. One bad inning, and he's ready to trade half the roster, fire the front office, and argue with anyone within Wi-Fi range who dares to say it's early. If the Red Sox lose, Slick's not upset, he's offended. Like the team personally disrespected his baseball intelligence. And you just know if they had lost today, he'd come on here breathing fire like he's about to file a formal complaint with Major League Baseball. Joining us tonight as well is John Martinello. John, our resident analytics department, because apparently watching the game isn't enough. You need a spreadsheet, 3 advanced metrics, and a calculator just to keep feeling something. This guy doesn't just say nice hit. He goes, well, actually, his expected slugging on that pitch was .742 with a 12-degree launch angle. John watches baseball like he's trying to solve a math problem that no one asked for. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just reacting like normal humans, and John's over here explaining why a groundout was technically encouraging. If the Red Sox ever win a game 5-2, John's not celebrating. He's telling you why, based on the data, it should have been 4.6 to 2.3. And finally, Thayer Doyle's here. Thayer, the calm, rational educator of the group, until someone misses a cutoff man, and suddenly he's ready to suspend the entire roster like it's detention hall at Fenway High. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are back on track, boys, and for once, it didn't feel like watching a root canal. Final score, Red Sox 5, Padres 2, and this game started exactly how you'd expect. About as exciting as watching paint dry in a library. First couple innings, groundouts, pop-outs, more groundouts. I've seen more action at a DMV on a snowy afternoon. But then something crazy happened. They scored runs. Multiple runs in the same game voluntarily. Bottom of the third, Ceddanne Rafaela drives in Marcelo Mayer to make it 1-0. Then Caleb Durbin, that Caleb Durbin, adds another RBI in the fourth, and you're sitting there thinking, wait, are they functioning? Of course, because it's the Red Sox, they immediately let San Diego tie it in the fifth. Triple, RBI single, RBI double, boom, 2-2, all thanks to the sun or Ceddanne Rafaela for getting his glasses. Just enough chaos to remind you who you're dealing with. But here's where it flipped. The sixth inning, the moment. Wilson Contreras launches his first home run as a Red Sox. Crowd wakes up. Dugout wakes up. Probably half the fan base wakes up from the nap they took during games 2 through 6. Then Marcelo Mayer says, you know what? I'll do you one better. 2-run bomb. Now it's 5-2, and suddenly this thing has structure. Purpose. Direction. Things we haven't seen in days. And how about the pitching? Sonny Gray did exactly what you needed. He kept it together, didn't implode, handed it off clean. Then the bullpen actually did their job. Weiser, Slayton, Chapman shut the damn door. No drama, no chaos, no, oh, here we go again moment. Just competence. Kind of weird, right? And let's talk defense real quick, because for once, there was no circus, no juggling act, no balls flying into the stands like it's batting practice. So what do we take from all this? The young guys showed up. Mayer, Rafaela, Anthony contributing. Contreras finally delivers something meaningful. Pitching didn't self-destruct. And most importantly, they didn't beat themselves. It only took 7 games, but hey, who the hell's counting? All right, I've said enough. It's time for Slick's Word of the Day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day!
Who the hell was sitting in my seat?
Is it
Did
warm?
You guys did I get kidnapped? Who the heck was sitting in my seat? Did I get kidnapped or something?
It had to be the Easter Bunny.
I think Elmer Fudd came. Yes, the Red Sox got a win today at Fenway Park. That's not what we've said often this start of the season. But I got to give them credit. I think we have to start at the top with Sonny Gray. I think there were still a lot of question marks coming into this start to figuring out what version of Sonny Gray were we going to get. Were we going to get the clunker start when we last saw him in Cincinnati, or are we going to see a guy that has a good track record and needed to get on track and set his place here in the Red Sox rotation here at home? I guess the biggest thing we have to think about here with this team is that they really have stunk on the road for a long time. At home, it's been a little bit of a different story. Last season, I think they were like, 15, 20 games over, something like that, over 500 when they were at home. And I think a little bit of home cooking helped this team a lot with, in a way, getting jump-started. I'm going to steal John's thunder when he said that, sometimes it doesn't really get the season started till that home opener. And for the Red Sox, at least in the past 5 seasons, we'll say, that's definitely been a true statement that's been there. I think they feel a lot more comfortable at home. But I want to see them string together something here. It's not going to be a sweep by the Padres. I did say that I thought the Padres would take 2 of 3, so I'm not out of the woods yet. Maybe if the Red Sox win again, you'll have to suffer through Bunny Boy coming back at some point for a whole entire show for punishment. But for now, I'll say I'm not punished, and we got to see a nice victory here for today. I do want to definitely acknowledge the Xander Bogaerts standing ovation that he got. Thinking back to past players that have worn the Red Sox jersey and that have meant a lot to the fan base, I think this was right up there with the player who deserved all the recognition in the world. I think, John Lester, when he came back to Fenway for one of the first times, that was an incredible ovation that he got. Nomar, when he came back as an Oakland A, finally in 2006. That was a long time. No, it was 2010. Sorry, that was the first time he came back. That was quite an ovation that he got there. Definitely deserved. And tell the truth, he's a player that I wish was still playing here in Boston. I really do, if the ownership didn't botch his deal. So we got the big hit from Wilson Contreras. And then the thunder of the day was Marcelo Meyer, the shocker. And with the interesting part, and we had a little group chat going on about this earlier, is that if there were runners on base, Alex Cora would have pinched hit, and it would have been Andrew Monastero, whatever you say his name, would have been hitting in his place. So kudos to Mayer for getting that home run off a left-hander. That was great. It was very clutch to see. And the Red Sox get a 5-2 victory. We also didn't see Garrett Whitlock for today. I don't know if he'll come back tomorrow or whatnot, but he's on the paternity list. Congratulations to the birth of his child number 2. So he's going to be away for the team for a little bit. So they got to survive without. But all in all, it's really not much to complain about, to tell you the truth. It was one of those games where the Red Sox showed up, played well and did the job.
Yeah, you have to be happy about today's game. I mean, you did everything that you wanted to happen. You had good pitching, you had solid defense, you had stringing runs together, and you got guys in scoring position, and you were able to get them home. It's amazing how simple it can be when you score runs and pitch well and have good defense. Nick's word of the day is brought to you by Fenway Park pregame ceremonies, because nothing says modern baseball team like celebrating 1986 when the current lineup is trying to figure out how to hit in 2026. Fenway Park ceremonies, living in the past so you don't have to watch the present. And now it's time for everyone.
My word of the day, by the way, was Wabbit.
It's time for the Martinello Minute.
And now the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin, just the truth, raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
Said it on our last show. I really just thought these guys, who all haven't slept in their own beds in probably months at this point, just needed to get home, good night's rest in their own beds, and that'll recharge the bats. That's exactly what we saw today. We saw some life in the offense, and then that carried over to the pitching. But Nick brought it up. Great moment for Xander Bogaerts. Fenway gave him the ovation that he absolutely deserved. I thought that was phenomenal. The umpire gave him his time, gave him his moment. It was great. Caleb Durbin, proud of him. Finally got that big hit. I was terrified for him after that first at bat. Comes up to the plate, some boos, some cheers from the crowd, a little bit of both. But his first at bat, first pitch, squibbles a grounds ball, inning-ending double play after the Wilson Contreras ABS challenge walk. And I thought he was coming for another 0 for 4 day. So props to him for coming up with 2 outs in the fourth. Duran led off the inning with the double. Then there were back-to-back strikeouts. So a big pressure moment for Durbin. And he finally, gets his moment, shoots it right back up the middle. And you could see how excited he was, dapping up first base coach Jose Flores after the hit. And then Marcelo Meyer scored the first run today after shooting a double off the monster. And then in the sixth, we brought it up already, left on left, makes Fernando Tatis Jr. recreate the Torrey Hunter dump over the right field wall. That was a good sight. Funny picture came out of that. And then please, Alex Cora, let him hit off left-handed pitchers. Obviously, if it's a big spot, Andrew Monasterio's there. I think he's, we saw what he did last year against lefties. I think it was an 837 OPS. So, but I think Meyer deserves a little bit longer of a leash after that today. And I'm completely all set on IKF. I don't even want to hear his name when it comes to pitch hitting for Marcelo Meyer. And finally, to finish up the offensive side of today's game, Wilson Contreras hit his first home run with the Red Sox. Absolute moonshot that landed on Lansdowne. Only problem I had with that and the Meyer home run is the Red Sox don't have a celebration yet in the dugout. That'll come when this group figures out kind of what their identity is, which is still triggering that they don't have one. But moving on to Sonny Gray, I mean, what a turnaround from last weekend. 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks. That's what Sonny Gray is. No, he's going to pound the zone with strikes. He's going to induce weak contact. He's going to get the ground balls. As a positive so far, this is what we're talking about. We can't, before I get onto that, one more thing about Sonny Gray's outing. You can't go watching a Red Sox game without seeing a dumb happen. And Ceddanne Rafaela, if it was probably the sun, but how the hell are you out there with no sunglasses on in a sunny day? And then obviously the next inning he's out there with sunglasses on. So that is what it is. Happy we get away with the win, but there's always a dumb when you're watching the Red Sox. Lastly, shout out to Chapman, moved to 11th all time in career saves. He passed Jonathan Papelbon. Although if it were me, probably would have pummeled Manny Machado after he challenged a strike call with 2 outs, nobody on base in a 5-2 game. So fuck you, Manny Machado. You have no legacy. You're never going to have one. But Sox win. We're going to have a winning streak tomorrow in the Fenway Greens. We're going to have a series sweep on Sunday. And to tie a bow on things, we're going to have Nick showing up here on Sunday wearing that bunny outfit for the entire show.
It wasn't me, John. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a little dicey there for a second with Chapman, and we couldn't find the strike zone early on in the inning. But all's well that ends well for sure. The Martinello Minute is sponsored by John Henry's Budget Calculator, the only tool powerful enough to turn $1 billion franchise into a mid-market roster using advanced cost efficiency metrics nobody asked for. John Henry's Budget Calculator. Why spend on stars when you can simulate them? And now it's time for the third strike.
And now it's time for the third strike with Thayer.
It's impressive what this team can do when Weissert doesn't give up a bomb. That really was the most important aspect of this game. He came in, he was able to pitch the seventh inning, get out of it without any problems, which turned it over to Chapman and to Slayton to slam the door. I think that was probably the most impactful aspect of this entire game. We had the offense finally hitting a little bit, which is good. We expected something that they couldn't be that bad all year long, but this is what we're going to need. The fact that we scored 5 runs is good, but it's still only 5 runs. We had big hits. We talked about Sedan getting the big hit and Durbin getting a big hit. But what can't be lost is that those big hits came with men on second base and an out. The inning started with men on second base and no outs, and nobody moved the runners over. That's not going to continue for the rest of this year. They have to be productive. They have to do what the important part. That will help sustain the pitching. But in general, like everyone's been saying, I really enjoyed watching Gray pitch today. He had it going, which was important. I do worry when he doesn't have that cutter working, he sort of does pitch into the zone a lot, and he's very hittable. But when he is able to move his pitches around and hit his spots, it's a whole different story, and we saw that today. So a positive. I'm still not quite sold on how good the Padres are, but a win is a win, and we move forward.
Yeah, there's no doubt the Padres are suffering. I think they'll probably even have a lower team batting average than the Red Sox do, I think, going into today's game, and it probably remains the same. Third strike with Thayer is brought to you by the Fenway Fundamentals Academy, where groundouts, double plays, and productive outs are still considered a lifestyle choice. Fenway Fundamentals Academy. We don't need homers. We have principles. I want to start off with some talking points. And again, we kind of talked a little bit about it earlier. Sonny Gray becomes the stopper all of a sudden in this losing streak. After a rocky debut in Cincinnati, Sonny Gray delivered exactly what the Red Sox needed in the home opener, a quality start. Gray provided 6 innings of 2-run ball, scattering just 4 hits and keeping the game within reach, even when the Padres tied it in the 5th. He ultimately showed veteran composure by pitching through trouble, ultimately earning his first win in a Red Sox uniform and snapping the team's 5-game losing streak. Sonny Gray was brought in to be a veteran anchor in this rotation. After seeing him rebound today at Fenway, do you view him as a true top-of-the-rotation starter that can carry us after Crochet, or is he more valuable as a stopper who simply prevents long losing skids? Nick, I'll start with you.
Way too short of a sample size to be saying what we know of Sonny Gray. I'll take today, but if I remember correctly, Walker Buehler's second start as a Red Sox, we were like, oh, all right, he's going to be half decent, not bad. I think it was like 3 earned runs or something he gave up, and then he just went down the lovely toilet. I need at least a month to see what we see on Sonny Gray. I'm happy with what he did for today, but we had the big colossal roller coaster ride for game 2 in Cincinnati. But if he's able to pitch and do a great job like he did today in his third start, I'll take it. But for right now, I think the sample size is too small. We need to see what he looks like against really tough competition as well, too. The Padres lineup outside of Ramon Laureano was coming into today not doing so hot, very similar to how the Red Sox lineup has started their season, too. So maybe we can catch it as a little bit of luck that Sonny Gray was able to get guys like Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. not hitting at their peak during the season. So I think we'll take what we can get here today, but this definitely needs to be a longer sample size here to start saying that Sonny Gray is atop the rotation. Did he stop today? Sure. He got us back in the winning column. Congrats. We needed it. But can I count on him for the next start? No, not yet. And quite frankly, I think I know we're going into the Conley early start tomorrow, but I have a little bit more faith as Conley early as my number 2 guy right now.
Yeah, good points. The one thing I would say about the Buehler situation, he was coming off that injury the prior season. Not that it's an excuse maker. Sonny Gray has been pretty healthy throughout his career, but it remains to be seen. I agree with you. One start isn't enough. Thayer, your thoughts on Sonny Gray, and can he carry this team a little bit more as a reliable top of the rotation guy, be a stopper? Your thoughts?
I wouldn't say a 1 or 2 kind of guy. He's probably more of a 3 or 4. I just don't think his stuff is dominant enough to really be a true stopper. I think his value with this team is going to be his professionalism and his knowledge of sort of the strike zone, pitching, how to deal with being a professional. That's going to be something I hope that he'll be able to share with the Bayos and the Earlys, and as well as Crochet, because Crochet has got all the talent in the world, but he's still a guy that is really trying to develop his true self. So I think it'll be helpful, kind of like we had last year, where we were hoping that Walker Buehler would be one of those kind of guys, and maybe Giolito, but here perhaps with Sonny Gray, he'll be more of a mentor for these guys, and he'll be able to, I think, take care of some of those nervous activities and anxious moments like we see with Bayo when he starts to get in a hole and it falls apart with him. Hopefully it's more of today and less of his start the last time, where he really just kind of let the floods take over for him.
Yeah. John, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that by the season's end, I think Sonny Gray obviously fills into more of the middle, maybe even the back end of the rotation, but I think it's also dependent on what the other guys that are in-house are doing. Me and Nick are both big guys on Connolly Early. We think that he's going to end up slotting into the top half of this rotation come, even a month or 2 from now. But yeah, like Sonny Gray is going to be a guy that's going to go out there. He's going to pitch his innings. Thayer said he's been healthy for the majority of his career. He's going to be a guy that, goes out there and hopefully gives you what he gave you today. I mean, he gave up 2 runs in 6 innings, but you put an extra cloud in the sky and it's a 6 innings of shutout baseball. So, he's going to give you starts like that. He's going to give you starts that he gave you in Cincinnati, but at the end of the day, he's going to be a guy sliding around to hopefully below 4, but probably hovering around a 4 ERA throughout the year. And he's going to post every time that his name comes up in the rotation. And, Thayer said it too. He's going to be a guy that could hopefully mentor, talk pitch grips, talk situational baseball with the other guys and the younger guys in the clubhouse. And, that's his role. And, we're not asking him to go pitch game 1 of the ALDS or ALCS or World Series if, they ever make it that far, knock on wood for that. But yeah, he's going to be just, a guy in the room that knows his role, knows his, his spot here on this team. And I think he's going to excel on it. He's excelled everywhere else he's been in his career, at least from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the numbers over the last 3 years, Sonny Gray has averaged about 30 starts per season, about 175 total innings averaged per season. It's 184, 166, 180. Simple math, probably in the 170s. And, over that period of time, 13-9, 14-8. So, I mean, if he can get us 14, 15 wins, in his slot in the rotation, I think you'd take it, and you'd be content with that. So we'll see how it turns out. Moving to our next topic is about Wilson Contreras. Contreras finally found his power today, crushing a 423-foot go-ahead solo shot in the 6th to break a 2-2 tie. After a freezing 143 start to the season, this Fenway moment might be exactly what he needed to stop pressing and start producing. We've been waiting for that signature Contreras moment. Is that tie-breaking home run the definitive spark that ignites his season? Are you still concerned about his overall consistency at the plate? John, I'll start with you.
I mean, you look a year ago, guy, he's a guy vet in this league, but first year at first base, a major change for him, and he struggled out the gate. I think he started the season 0 for 24. I remember, this time a year ago, I was super frustrated because I had him on my fantasy baseball team and I dropped him. But, after that really slow start, he figured it out, and I think it's going to be the same thing here. He's still got all the underlying metrics that you want to see. He's got the bat speed, he's got the command, the discipline of the strike zone. He knows, we saw it today with the challenge to draw the walk. He's just got to get going. He's got to get comfortable. He's in a new location. He's in a new home. So I'm not worried about him whatsoever. And I think we're going to see a lot more of what he did today in the coming weeks, coming months through the fall.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy that over the last 5 years, 21 home runs, 22, 20, 15, 20. So, you're right in that category of being a 20 home run type of guy. The one thing I do like is he does see a lot of pitches. He will take his walks. I thought it was pretty cool, the challenge of of ball 4 when he just started going down to first base. And he's tapping his helmet like, F you, I know that's a ball, and I'm going to be on first. So I think something like that is going to be the new bat flip. You know what I mean? Like, the F you bat flip home run. This is going to be that new thing where it's like, I'm taking my base because I know it's ball 4. Your thoughts on Contreras?
He's a pro. He's going to be a guy, I think, that'll produce in the middle of the lineup. He's not going to be your prototypical power guy, but I think now that he's out from behind the plate, like John was saying, last year was his first full year as a first baseman. Now that he'll be able to sort of be physically okay instead of catching and wearing himself out from a day-to-day basis, he'll be able to do what he needs to do. And most importantly, he's a guy that has played with other professionals. He's never really been a true leader on the team because he was always playing, where he was. He had Yadi Molina, and that was a guy that he learned from, and hopefully he'll take a lot of the sort of the mentorship and the leadership that he saw there and pass it on to the ball players in Boston. I think he's going to be a benefit. He was someone that I think was a good acquisition this year over the winter. He's not someone I think that fills that entire need that we had of a true power hitting third baseman or first baseman, but I think he's someone that'll be, more than serviceable. We'll enjoy watching him play this year. And as long as he stays healthy, I think he'll produce probably close to 20, 25, and 100.
Yeah, I mean, he is still a presence in that lineup. I mean, yes, it's not Manny, it's not JD Martinez, but at least when you got him up, you feel like you have a chance. It's not going to be one of those things where it's like, oh crap, here's so-and-so, and we don't have a shot in hell. Nick, your thoughts on Contreras to wrap it up?
I like him. The issue here has to do with roster configuration. It has to do with he's being asked to be your JD Martinez, basically, because you don't have any other thump that's in your lineup. What I'm curious to see over the long haul on what Wilson Contreras ends up becoming is, can he be his own guy? Will that pressure get to him? Can he just get it out of his system, not have to worry about anything, and just play? I am about 80% sure that he can do that. But there's this slow start and figuring out transitioning here into the American League, what that's going to be like. I think it's a tall task, at least to start the season. I look at Wilson Contreras as more of a guy that needs some time to work out the kinks, figure out what it's like to, be an everyday first baseman, figure out what it's like to be a middle of the lineup guy that's needed and counted on every day. I want to see what that looks like after about 100, 150 at bats. to see where he's at developmentally wise, to see what we got here, because I think we got a good one. But I don't want to come out of the gate too hot here saying, oh, yeah, big hit. That's just going to jumpstart him. He's going to have a first half like Alex Bregman did last year. I'm not going to say that. Slow and steady wins the race here. You don't see me screaming here tonight. I'm calm. I'm happy that they won. I'm not screaming for Henry's head tonight. Maybe the bunny is, but I'm on track here tonight. I'm looking at, okay, if they won today, this afternoon, can they win again tomorrow? Can they win Sunday? And if they do that, then we're getting into that, okay, we're going to be at about a 500 level team. That swagger is going to come into its own. And that's when the team, in my opinion, will start to find themselves. It's a lot of identifying who you are as a team these early parts of this season, specifically this team. I think they have to find their identity. And I think backs against the wall, we're 1-5 to start the season. That's not a good way to start, obviously. So I think the pressure came off today. I think they finally can say, hey, we can lose some games, but then we can bounce right back and see what we can do against our other opponents.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Contreras will be fine. I think he's probably one of the guys that we can count on more times than not. Moving to our next topic tonight is about Caleb Durbin. Caleb Durbin finally broke his season opening 0-for-19 skid and a 34 plate appearance hitless streak dating back to last year. Incidentally enough, I wrote that in Twitter, and of course everybody railroaded me about, well, he had a few hits in the postseason. Look, he had a few hits in the spring training too. Those numbers don't count in the regular season statistics. So let's start figuring out how to play baseball and understand it. He had a sharp RBI single in the fourth after being the last qualified hitter in Major League Baseball to record a hit this season. The new third baseman looked more relaxed, finishing a busy day at the hot corner with 7 defensive assists to support Sonny Gray. Caleb Durbin was brought in with the impossible task of replacing a franchise icon at third base. Now that the hitless monkey is finally off his back, do you expect the floodgates to open for his high contact game, or does his low exit velocity numbers still have you worried about his long-term ceiling in this lineup? Nick, I'll start with you.
I am still concerned on Caleb Durbin. I am. I think the pressure, it's not only Bregman, remember, that he's replacing. He's also replacing Devers as well, too. So it ain't just one, it's really 2 guys that he's being accounted for to take that position, to come into his own and have it be. Was it big that he got a hit here today? Sure. Same deal with what I just said with Wilson Contreras. Here's a guy that we really don't know what's going to happen here with him. We know he's durable. That's one thing that's a good thing. I think the defense, for the most part, will be fine. It's a matter of will the hitting be able to sustain a starting position on this team? If Romy Gonzalez was healthy right now, we wouldn't even probably be seeing Caleb Durbin. We'd probably be seeing Marcelo Meyer at third, Romy Gonzalez over at second base, something of that nature. So when Romy gets healthy, and then again, that's an if he even plays this season, you're going to have to count on Durbin, and he's going to have to figure out what he's going to do. The big talk heading into this game was, what would you do for Durbin? Would you stand up and cheer and give him a Trey Turner like the Phillies did? What was that, about a year ago when Trey Turner couldn't get a hit and they all stood up, gave him a round of applause, then boom, got the hit? Or do you boo him? Well, for me, Thayer, I loved your message that you put into our group chat about the whole, what do you do if you were in the situation as a fan? I personally don't ever boo when I'm there and I don't really go often to games. I just don't, because number one, I don't want to make myself out to look like an imbecile. But number two, I also want to give at least the player some sort of self-respect. I know it's pressure. I know it's hard. You got to focus into your at-bat and figure out what to do. So, yes, did he get booed? He did. I don't agree with it. But should he have gotten a standing ovation like the Phillies did? No, because again, I look at track record in a way. Trey Turner had that. I'm not saying if you stood up and gave a round of applause, I'm gonna come and berate you, but I'm just gonna say that's kind of weird. That's kind of soft. It's like, okay, dude, hey, we're all with you. We're gonna do this. Come on, buddy. It just seems like tacky. You know what I mean? I think that's the right word to say, tacky. Happy for the guy. Got a hit. Got on. I hope that takes the pressure off. Am I at that point of inserting Caleb Durbin into my lineup every day? Hell no. But that's your team. That's what you got. I'd rather him, I think, than kind of Falafel House. So,
yeah, KFC. Yeah, look, again, we had a complete show where we were rooting for this guy. I understand that. The one thing that people on Twitter have a problem with is that, when you talk sports daily, especially when you're following a baseball team and games change night after night, you have to discuss what's going on at that moment. So people that think that we're shit canning players or that I am or whatever, that's not what we're doing. We have higher expectations. We have the highest expectations, and we expect as much as we can out of these guys. And we don't accept, at least I don't expect complacency. I want championship rosters every year. And you can't sit there and say that can't happen because teams do it. The Dodgers do it every single year, and they win World Series championships. This team did it and has won World Series championships. So it's not about that they can't do it or they're not drafting well or, this, that, or the other thing. They've got the money. They're worth $9 billion. Okay. They can do it. Farrell, I'll go to you next. Your thoughts on Caleb Durbin's hit today, and you think this will maybe get him going?
I think it's about time. I don't think it's going to get him to anything spectacular. His bat is very slow. Nothing really is impressive about it. He does run a little bit. Maybe he can make some things happen. He's going to be, it's unfortunate we don't have a left-handed hitting infielder other than Mayer, because this is the guy you platoon. Instead of bringing in IKF to platoon with Mayer, they should have just found someone, that could have been a platooner with this kid, because that's the platoon. It's not Mayer. Mayer's a ball player. But, hey, he did what he's supposed to do. He plays some solid defense for the most part. He'll be a 4A baseball player. He'll be a guy that could start in the, a second tier market ball club. So he's starting for the Red Sox because that's what we are now.
Yeah. Again, the Red Sox said that why give $40 million to Alex Bregman? We'll get Caleb Durbin and we'll try to increase his bat speed and we can turn him into a 18 or 19 home run guy as opposed to 11 home run guy. But John, same question to you. Do you think this will start up his hitting contact game, or are you still worried about him?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely. I don't think that he's immediately going to go back into another 0 for 18 slump. I think the hits are, right around the corner. I think they're here. I think he's going to, I don't think he's going to go hit 400 for the next week, but, slow and steady. He's, that's a huge break for him today. Obviously it was pretty easy to tell that he's been pressing the last couple of days. He got benched for a game in Houston. So I think that he's going to be fine from here on out. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it just was, but I thought he had a really interesting comment after the game. He said, that's Boston, right? You want fans that are poured into it. When you're not going good, when it's bad, you're beating yourself up more than anything. You definitely don't take it personally. It's honestly a good thing because you want the fans to be on you, and that's what makes Boston special. So, he's mature enough to understand kind of what the expectations are, not only on himself, but for the team that he represents. And, after getting that first hit, I think that it's something that you just put in the back burner, and he's going to be fine as we move forward.
Yeah, definitely agree with your points. Moving on to our last topic for tonight. I'll do this really quickly. Marcelo Mayer, The homecoming for the Red Sox top prospect was a masterclass. After a quiet start to the season, Mayer dominated the box score, going 2 for 2 with a double and a massive 2-run home run in the 6th inning. He was the catalyst for the early lead and provided the definitive insurance that the Sox needed to breathe. Beyond the stats, it was his poise, batting in high-pressure home opener and delivering when the game was on the line to help snap this 5-game skid. We've seen the hype videos and the prospect rankings for years. This guy's been shoved down our throats for quite some time, but today he looked like the leader of the offense. Is he ready to now break out, and is he finally starting to be comfortable? John, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, when you say breakout, I don't think that he's going to break out hitting 280 on the year, over 550 at bats, and have 25 home runs. But I think he's going to have a breakout of I think that he's going to be able to play the games that we want him to play. And in doing so I think naturally, just the player that he is at this point in time, with all the time that he's missed throughout the minors in his career, I don't think that his bat's going to be anything, out of this world. But I think we're going to have a league average bat from a player that's going to play fantastic defense and be in the conversation for a Gold Glove, whether that's at second base or hopefully once the team realizes that he's able to stay healthy, they shipped him over to shortstop. But yeah, no, I don't think he's going to light up the stat sheets from an offensive standpoint. I think he's going to be streaky, as we said on the show before. But, when we look down at the end of the season, I think it's going to be hopefully slightly above average, bat, and the defense is going to speak for itself.
Thayer, your thoughts, 30 seconds.
I don't think he's going to be a Gunnar Henderson by any stretch of the imagination with that power and sort of the offensive productivity, but he'll be a better defensive player. I hope he's a little better than Mason Wynn with the Cardinals, who's a Gold Glove shortstop, but not really a hitter. So if we can get that Gold Glove and, Steven Drew kind of ball player, I think we'd accept that. Unfortunately, they've hyped him up to be the next coming. I don't think he's going to ever amount to quite that. But if he can be a serviceable ball player that can play, ultimately, I think shortstop at a Gold Glove level, then we'll be okay.
Nick.
Are we out of the realm of possibility that Marcelo Meyer could be like a Kevin Youkilis? Am I out of my mind saying I wish he were? Would we be happy if he turned in something like that? Or is that still out of the realm? Okay. But do you think realistically that could happen? Because that's where, when he first came up, I kept looking at, okay, player-wise, build-wise, what is this guy going to become? He's not going to be Nomar. He's not going to be Xander. So I'm putting that out the window. It's not going to happen. If it does happen, that would be truly sensational. And it would be incredible if that did happen. But I guess if I look at Kevin Youkilis, I get they're different kind of players. But if you look at the numbers across the board for Uke when he was here, he was a very solid player and cog in that lineup, both offensively and defensively, dirt dog type, got the job done. Is he obviously Uke a Hall of Famer? Of course not. But I think that if Marcelo Meyer comes into his own and gives us a track record of a guy that's kind of like a Uke when he was in this team and inserted in a lot of different abilities and capabilities, where there was in the lineup, different positionings, jumping around, kind of being that ultimate team pro, I think I'll be happy with that. Today was a great, I think, jump start in the right path for where he's going to be. Now it's just repetition in my mind. It's, can he get back into the same, like, what does he do tomorrow? Or is he going to be sitting on the bench? That's going to be the Achilles heel with management from him here, is Cora needs to let him go. Let him off the leash. Let him play. But he's not going to do that. You're going to see your Conifaleffers play. You're going to see, Andrew Montecero play. I don't agree with that, but it's what this organization does. It's the stat nerds. Case in point, they wanted to pinch hit him today. Cora went ahead and said, you're going to play, you're going to hit. And lo and behold, he hits the home run. So the nerds need to find a new hobby. politely.
Yeah, I wonder if he could be like a rich man's J.P. Crawford. You know, I mean, you would take that, and he could be a mainstay, as your shortstop for 10 years, something like that. We'll see how it goes. Moving really, really fast, 30 seconds. Johan Oviedo lands on the IL today with a forearm strain. Again, coming off the surgery as he did. This is a concern because originally he was slated as your number 5 starter. It looks like we may not see him for a little bit. 30 seconds there. Your thoughts here. What do you anticipate going on?
I think it's a blow from the standpoint of they had a plan of some kind. Well, I don't know what the plan was, but we talked before the season started about this guy kind of being an important plug. If he was going to be in the rotation, that's important because they need him to do well that way early and totally stay in the minors and get themselves going. Early made the club because they had Suarez was behind, so he's pitched well. We were talking if Oviedo's in the bullpen, is he going to be an important sort of swingman for us? Now we're not going to be able to see that for a while. It's unfortunate, and it's just a case of one more thing that Breslow's going to be mocked for.
John, quickly on Oviedo, your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I really just hope that it's a case of a dead arm. Obviously we saw his velocity dip from his first couple starts in spring camp to his last start and then into his bullpen appearance in Houston. So, hopefully it's just that. You go down for the 2 weeks and then maybe you get a start out of him in Worcester. But hopefully he's back because, Thayer said it a couple shows ago. He's going to be really important to this team. We need him up here, and we need that, it's not 92, 93. We need that 95, 97, touching 98 with that elite extension that he has. And we're going to need him in the rotation. So hopefully he just gets back in the scheduled window here.
Nick, 30 seconds.
I'll be different. I don't think this really matters for the team because I think what we'll see here is that Peyton Tolley will probably take a higher role here. Say he gets elevated to come up to the team. The difference is obviously right-handed versus left-handed. Remember, we also have Cutter Crawford coming back soon. That could be your guy that slots into this. The thing that you have to think about here is the move that went down. What went down with the Pirates when this move happened? When it was Password and someone else traded to get Oviedo, correct?
So yes.
I forget who the other player was. But this is damaged goods. It was. I mean, coming off Tommy John, did the Tommy John surgery not go accordingly? Meaning when they do this MRI and figure out what's going on in the arm, are they going to find something else? It's very rare, obviously, to see back-to-back Tommy John surgeries. But to see the drastic difference in velocity already from his arm early to start this season leads me to be very concerned here on what's going on with the arm. What they find out, I was joking on X earlier today. I go, Tommy John, it's here. But I don't want that to happen. That would be devastating to a guy. I mean, I want the guy to come back and be able to give you the team something. But I think depth-wise, at least on the pitching end, the Red Sox can sustain this loss, and they'll be okay without it. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mean, my take from the medical side here, obviously it's too early to make any kind of speculation. They're going to do an MRI on it. They're going to look to see what kind of inflammation is potentially at the surgical site. It could be some scar tissue. The bigger question is that if there is some sort of avulsion or rupture or something that's just not adhering to the bone properly, that's where it's going to be a problem. I doubt it. They've come so long with these Tommy John surgeries now over the years that, this went from when Tommy had it, to a career-ending injury to people come back stronger. So I think what you will see, if I had to speculate, they'll shut him down for a while. He'll go back to the minor leagues. They'll work him up, like John said, and then probably you won't see him for a while. I'm thinking June, July could be a reasonable situation. because of what you said, Nick. They do have the pitching to sustain this type of setback, and that's the bottom line. And because they have that setback, and because this isn't your number one starter, they're not going to feel inclined to rush a kid like that back. That's just how it's going to work. So remains to be seen, but I think he'll be fine. Obviously, as we get more information, we'll discuss that as we go along. Moving on to some comments really quickly. Hi and hello. Evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Nice to finally be home again and get a win. Hopefully they continue to play a little better at Fenway and get the season back right on track. That's TH Jodo 28. Hopefully you're right. We'll see how it goes. But they've religiously been a better team at home than on the road. So, like everybody said, get back into your own beds and, have a little bit more of a relaxed situation. Play Mayor every damn day. I'm in that camp. I don't know about everybody else. If you didn't trade him, you got to play him. And if you're going to platoon him, then you should have traded him. So let him play. Roman Empire says, send Mayor to Iran, but he's going to be bringing the bombs all season. That's pretty funny. Yep. Mathematically eliminated says, what's up?
Yeah. What's up? The wrong show guy.
Yeah. Roman Empire platooning IKF
with Boston. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Yeah, the toad. Platooning IKF with Mayor is like deciding to wipe the Great Value brand when you have Charbon next to you. That's well said. I like that one. Let's see here. Gray is a 3 at best, maybe a 4. I mean, if he's a 4 on your team, then I think your rotation's pretty strong. Yeah. So I'll take that. Mathematically eliminates says, come on, we're talking about Romy. I thought we were the Boston Red Sox, not the Twins. I agree, but unfortunately, this is the shit we have, and we have no choice.
Let's not knock on Romy. That season he had last season was very, very good. And I'm not here to – they probably don't make the playoffs without Romy stepping into first or second base to give them some sort of production. His season he had last season was very good. Give him credit for that.
Nate asked,
Romy Gonzalez hit. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, Romy Gonzalez hit 311 against lefties last year.
I mean, needs to shut up.
He had north of 850 OPS against him. Like he was a stud. We didn't have him. Absolutely, we're not making the playoffs last year.
I think Elmer Fudd found his new hunting season.
Did I miss the Martinello Minute? You can always watch it on our website at redsoxdigest.com, and you'll have the audio and the full video of this on our website. Really quickly, tomorrow's game is going to be, again, just so we're all aware, Saturday, April 4th, 4:10 p.m. start. It's going to be Connolly Early against Randy Vasquez. 15 seconds. Nick, who's going to win tomorrow?
This was the one I actually had the Red Sox winning, and I said that the other night. I think the bunny suit's going to be worn on Sunday.
John, who's winning? John, who's winning? Who's winning tomorrow, John?
Sox are winning tomorrow. I said it last episode. It's going to be a clean sweep. Padres don't have the bats going early in the season, and Connolly Early on the mound's not going to help them at all in that regard. He's going to shove tomorrow, and it's going to be more so the reason as to why he made this roster, and he's going to keep proving why he's more than a number 4 or number 5, and he's going to propel himself up and up that rotation.
Thayer, who's winning tomorrow?
I said the other day that it's going to be 2 out of 3 Red Sox, but they're going to win the clincher and not game 2. I'd like to see Early. I think he'll come out and pitch well. I think Vasquez will probably shove it right up our bats right up our rear ends. I do worry about the bullpen being able to do what they need to do tomorrow. Sort of being down Whitlock. We'll see if they can come back, and will Weissert actually be able to get people out as opposed to giving up balls over to Monster. But I think tomorrow the Padres are going to come out and even it.
So my opinion is the Red Sox are going to win if Connolly Early can go 5 or 6 innings. If he has trouble and can't get out of the 3rd, something like that, I don't think they're going to win. I think the Padres will ultimately win that game. So it's going to be all based on Connolly Early getting into the middle to later innings. If he can do that, I think the Red Sox win, because that means he's having a really good game. So with that being said, I think we're going to wrap it up. One last thing, just to let everybody remember, go to our website and subscribe to our digital product at redsoxdigest.com. And we have daily articles from the games the day before. We may even have the bunny involved, it looks like. And you get transcripts from this show as well as the audio version on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Just a reminder, too, all season long, we are doing the Star of the Game sweepstakes. This is for a $100 MLB Shop Red Sox gift card, which will go to the winner at the end of the season in October. All you have to do is look for this logo and graphic from my screen name, and there'll be an informational piece there that says to just put in the comments who you think will be the star of the game for that particular game. It will always be up before the game starts, and your entry needs to be in before game time. And what we'll do is we will tabulate the winners. The more wins you get, the higher score you'll have, and you'll be the winner at the end of the season. Today's star of the game was Sonny Gray, who pitched that 6-inning gem today. And if it wasn't for Cedane Rafaela's glasses or the sun, probably would have even had a shutout. So Sonny Gray is your star of the game. We will be back with you on Sunday at 9 p.m., and we will have another drawing on that night. So hopefully the Red Sox win tomorrow. I'd like to thank Nick, John, and Thayer for being on, as well as all our commentators that chime in and everybody that listens to us. Have a great rest of your Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Happy Easter to everybody. Have a good night.